Welcome to the first Wrestling Underground Podcast 2022. I'm your host, Jed Portal. Joining me is Marcus Green. Marcus, we're talking shows, wrestling shows, a bunch of them.
Yeah, man. Kicking off the year with a hell of a bang, wrestling wise, which is good for us because it was not dealing with the E.
Yeah, so I made the mistake of watching day one.
Well, you do like to laugh.
I do. Unfortunately, I tried. Marcus, did you see any of day one?
Yeah, I caught it. It's I mean, look, the Usos and New Day. Uh, it's old hat at this point. Good old hat, but and
Like,
the
you can do
irony that
anything
Reigns.
else. Like, anything else.
Yeah. I forgot what did you call that? You had a great tweet about that. What did you call New Day and the Usos?
The Cena and Orton of tag team wrestling, and just like that feud, we should never see it again.
Yes. Uh, that's yeah, you're right. It's behind it. All that time, Reigns was one of the first ones to really stand up and like when this whole COVID thing first hit, and then he got took out on a pay per view that was basically named after part of his gimmick with his cousins. But yeah, that was gave WWE excuse to knock throw another New Day member down, but the Brock Lesnar hallway of hell. Oh man.
You got to think that there's like a ticket that they have to take. Like, all right, Kofi, take this. Big E, take this. And Xavier's like, I don't want it. And they're like, you got to take the ticket. I don't want the ticket. Take the ticket. I don't want the ticket. And then they stick the ticket in his crown and then push him down the hallway. Worst ride ever. If you're the New Day, everything's coming up Millhouse. On one hand, I'm not mad they took the belt off of Big E because they really don't do a great job with championship reigns anymore. So it really doesn't matter who has the belt. But on the other hand, they had to have him get pinned. Like that's the one thing that kind of made me think you didn't need to do that. Like that seemed personal. Seth Rollins is his entire gimmick is frickin' Seth frickin' Rollins. Have him take a pin. No one gives a shit. Kevin Owens can, stand to lose a few pounds. Have him get laid on. He didn't need to do Big E like that, but it's the E. That's what they do. So, with that said, let's talk about some good wrestling. Hard to Kill was last night, 2 nights ago. One of that is right. I watched it. And every time I type Hard to Kill, I get that fucking Steven Seagal movie. And I'm like, no, thank you, Sensei Seagal. I'm good. And it was a fine show. A lot of it was very good. I did not get why they did the main events the way they did, where they had the world title on second, or semi-main, I should say. And then Mickey and Deanna went on last. Either would have made sense if you were doing a title change in the main event. But the Texas Death Match was really not good. And the Ultimate X Match was really botchy. And I don't know why they bookended the show that way.
Look, I can appreciate the fact that they started with women and ended with women.
Yeah, that's fine. Execution's the issue, not the idea.
Yeah, and we never want stuff just for. We not the people here that like the representation just for the look of it. But Impact has thankfully been properly representing women wrestling for its entire existence, thankfully, and then in the best ways. And I think just the fact that they got that first Ultimate X match off, I think if we see it in the future, which I think we will, they can iron some of those wrinkles out because. And I don't know about you, the whole time I was watching this, I'm like. These wonderfully beautiful, talented, tough-ass, smart women had the entire X division at their disposal before this match, and nobody recommended gloves.
Right.
Nobody recommended gloves. Like I get Jordan because I mean at this point, um, her hands might be naturally like dusted,
Right,
but
from all the weightlifting. Those
yeah,
calluses
but
have probably formed.
exactly. But everybody else, come on, man. Like just like somebody needed gloves. They all need.
I thought the funniest thing was watching Jordan try to maneuver those ropes. Like, she's not. See, I don't like talking about this kind of stuff out of context. Jordan's a very in shape, very muscular woman, and when you have extra muscles, you carry extra weight. And you could tell that that was affecting her when she was trying to shimmy. Like, oh no, Jordan! Somebody should have called Samoa Joe and asked him how hard it was for him to do this, because you could tell she was struggling. And I'm like, oh no, Jordan!
Yeah, yeah, and like you, I'm not walking across Bob Rob when like you said in context when I say this, she's usually used to using all that weight as a base normally to push things out or up.
Right, not exactly to dangle.
Yeah, exactly. So when gravity is like, where are you going? It's not working the best. I think my favorite like clown was like, oh look at this go. She could just like she could literally just like Peter Parker her way to the thing. And obviously that didn't. I'm like, y'all gonna try to Jeff Hardy edge my Lish? Don't do that to Lish.
Yeah, like that was, and like the worst spot or the best spot, because like there's a part of me where I'm like almost a dad watching this, where I'm like, but you're people and you're hurting each other. Stop. But then there's also the part of me where I'm like, yeah, raging violence. So it's like it's a duality, right?
Mhm.
I want to see people's heads get caved in, but not if they're going to be hurt long term. I want that fictional violence more than anything. But who was it? Jordan and Tasha did that power bomb where both of their asses went straight into the mat. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, they bubble
those
bombed each other.
spines.
Yeah, they bubble bombed it. Yeah, man.
Those
That's
spines.
because even if it's all ass on that barely padded um ring.
Well,
So
they
it's
both came
like,
down on like a slight angle. So like if they landed, because if you're a dude and you land straight on your thighs, you're gonna worry about your package getting caught. But that's not an
hmm
issue for these women, as we found out in the main event.
yeah, call back.
But they didn't land where their thighs were level, so like their thighs and glute were taking most of the bump. They both landed kind of on like an awkward angle where both of their asses slammed straight in on like the top. And like that's a great way to fuck up your back. And I saw that I cringed. I was a great spot. I loved it, but also
Yeah.
your poor backs. It was a little sloppy and it was fine. Like it was fine. But I don't think that it was nearly on par to what the X Division does. And I know there are gonna be a lot of people like, well, yeah, but. And I've always been of the mindset: if you can't be as good as something that you're trying to emulate, don't do it. And it's not just with women's wrestling or women's sports in general. I mean in just life. If you want to make a pizza, but it's going to be not as good as Domino's or Pizza Hut, why are you making a pizza? I don't get it. We're going to make a cheese sauce thing. Is there going to be dough? No. Why? What are you doing? So, for me, I feel like there should have been some adjustments to make this work better because it was a little rough. I'm glad it happened. Nice moment. Tasha won. That sets up a very interesting feud with Mickie James that I think is going to be very fun to play out. That's a very fresh matchup. But all in all, I think it definitely could have been better.
Yeah, but I think one thing, like I said, like you said, is I'm glad it happened. I think it was something we'll get to the announcing part later because I always like to leave that part specifically for Chad. That's that's his part is like Vegeta. Vegeta does the volleys. Gonna shoot a bunch of key blasts. They may hit something, they may not, but it's gonna be a hell of a spectacle. Um,
My baby boy. Don't worry, Vegeta. We'll wish back your baby boy. Fuck back.
oh man. Oh, but yeah, but the whole thing about this isn't about making something special. This is about making something normal, which I appreciated coming from commentary because they're right. And that's also a great way to get a number one contender in a cool way without the whole, oh, well, she pinned such and such during a tag team match that people forgot 2 weeks ago from an Impact show. Like, no, that's a great way to do it. I think they picked a great first time winner.
Mm-hmm.
Tasha, did her thing. But I think, like, we both agreed it's definitely improvements first. Gloves. Please get some gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you got a whole litany of X Division guys there to map some of that stuff out with. Talk to your trades and everybody else, man. And I think, I don't want this to be like normal to the point where they over bastardize it like they did a few years ago when they was doing the Ultimate X, seemed like every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I
Um,
think like 2018 they did like an Ultimate X match, probably every major show,
yeah,
4 or 5 times in 1 year.
yeah, that was rough. So, but if they do it again, and I think they should, they just map it out a little better, man. But I appreciate one thing I always love about the knockouts. They are not pussyfooters, and that's
No.
no pun intended. They will go there.
Mm-hmm.
Roll there, all those chicks. They will go there. Lish got in there with Kendra, went off. They ain't scared of tables, none of that stuff. So, I always appreciate if you're gonna go balls to the wall, use the balls and use the wall.
I would probably lower it a foot.
The X.
Yeah, I would lower it a foot because most of the women are probably 5'5" and under. And with
Yeah.
like the men, you're all 6 foot and up, and I think it would just be a bit easier because like look at Lish. We love Lish. Lish is crazy, but she has zero athletic ability to her name.
Like for Lish, that was like transversing that role for Lish was like Tom Cruise on the.
Yes.
Tom Cruise.
It was Tom Cruise climbing that building in Saudi Arabia, or UAE or wherever it was. Yes,
Oh,
it
man.
was a difficult situation, and she did great. Like they all did good. It could have been better. It could have been a lot worse though. It could have been a lot worse. Speaking of worse, we're talking about Steve Macklin now. Oh,
A lot of.
oh,
I remember when Chad was like, "I like this Wagner guy. I like him. I like. Get him the fuck off my screen. It's the same thing."
yeah. It's been what 4 months? I feel like a bare naked lady song. It's been 6 weeks since you looked at me, or whatever the fucking song was. Yeah, Macklin does nothing new, and this feud is garbage, and this match was boring. The only decent thing was the Spider-Verse intro, where there was two other quote unquote trays, and then
Hey,
he
shut
did the
up.
photo with the other trays in the back where they're pointing at each other like that Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, man, that was. Look, I always appreciate when people turn up to both the ring attire and the entrance for a pay per view.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's one thing I always appreciated about uh, Triple H in his prime. He always turned it up for the big shows, but specifically WrestleMania. But yeah, I mean, I think Trey. I mean, Trey is oftentimes the highlight of most of these shows when he's on. Definitely the highlight of this match. I did appreciate though that Macklin just was like, I'm not waiting, suicide dive on your goofy ass. Like I thought that was some great because his whole thing is he's aggressive. He gonna be on the attack, yada yada yada. I thought Trey met that with some great high flying and aggression at the same time, and the fact that Matrix DDT suicide DDT does it never gets old watching that.
Did you call Macklin a silly ass
No, I was like
or
when he
goofy ass?
suicide, like, I'm gonna suicide dive your goofy ass. I'm not waiting on you to get into the ring because I hate when people do blood feuds and people wait
Mm-hmm.
for stuff. Like if I want this guy dead, I don't care about my entrance. Like, I'm coming from under the ring. I want him dead.
Steve goofy ass Macklin. Nailed it. Speaking of nailed it, two fantastic matches back to back. Match of the year contenders. Book it. Johnny Gresham versus Chrissy Sabin. I don't know why I did that to their names. What a magical match. I loved it. It was only 12 minutes long. Love that. Told a hell of a story. Love that. And Gresham got the win by the skin of his teeth, both making himself look good in the win and keeping Sabin strong in defeat. There are ways to win matches where everyone wins. Sabin didn't lose, he got caught. And that's kind of the best way to keep someone strong after in defeat. Make them look like they got caught. You don't need to do 16 fucking one-winged angels, right? a roll-up works just as well as a finisher. Because a win's a win's a win's a win.
You know how complicated it is to get caught up in a La Mahi straw cradle. Like that's like I don't know how some of those guys get in those situations and remember to kick out. Aside from like the minute he says two, I got to figure this out. Like fight going against like I'd hate to be in a triple threat match with Josh Gresham and Zack Sabre Jr. I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna miss this situation and hide out the ring for the entirety of the match and wait till my moment.
Dude, that's where you just go in the back, come back out with like a big fucking container of like dough, and you push it in the ring and just say, "You guys like stretching shit? I got some Italian food I need made." Basically.
I'm not. I think my favorite thing.
Moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie. It's Gresham and Zack Sabre Jr.
I think my favorite thing about the matches though is how like much the crowd got into it.
Oh yeah.
I think
and
we love. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to say this. I can actually say that I actually enjoyed Ian Riccaboni in commentary for this because he didn't make any stupid fucking allusions to pop culture. Although he did leave the door open. That dick.
No, you're right. Oh god, that whole thing, that bit. But I appreciated Riccaboni. I think he was genuinely happy to be there. Like saying, like I sit, in the place of Don West and your Mike Tenay's, and he went down the litany of lists, and he really genuinely felt like somebody that was genuinely honored to be there, and happy that again to get Ring of Honor some shine like that with all the up in the airness that's going on. Like he genuinely came out like somebody that just wasn't giving lip service like a lot of people would be, and we're gonna get to another commentator too, but I appreciated, just the homework that guy did because a lot of times you can kind of just do just enough to sound like you know what you're talking about. But I felt like everybody did that. But we love D'Lo. Like I said, I feel like in my head, D'Lo's always doing the head thing on the commentary. We just can't see it. So, but yeah, if you don't watch nothing else on this show, there's two things to definitely watch, and this is a must-watch match. Josh Gresham is one of the best to do this going today, and Chris Sabin and that whole just the narrative lineage of him in Ring of Honor, which I almost forgot about, and the fact that he apparently had a title shot going on 2 years now, like that whole narrative that came together, I thought that was real cool.
So let's pause before we go and talk about Alexander and Jonah. They didn't re-sign Matt Striker, which pissed me off.
Yeah.
Then they brought in what is his real name now? It's Tom Hannafan.
Yeah, Hannafin. Yeah.
Hannafin. Tom Phillips of WWE fame. So I don't like the dude. I'm a pretty moral individual for the most part. I don't like me racists. I'm not a punch a racist in the face. I'm more of a convert them into not being a douchebag kind of guy. I don't like cheaters. And that's what Tom Phillips is. He tried to sext a girl while he was engaged to another woman. You're going to do, well, it's not your... We need morals in our society because clearly our elected officials are moralless. And unelected officials, too. So I feel like we need to be like, no, we should fucking kink shame the shit out of people because, like, that's fucked up. Don't cheat. So I don't like Tom Phillips. He's fine. He's good at his job, but I will never like him. He's another sex pest, and I'm done with Impact being okay with this. But I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna steal a Marcus inside joke racist moment here. Marcus can't tell white people apart. That's not actually true, which is always what I like to joke about. Did you ever see the movie Role Models with Paul Rudd?
Yeah.
Do you remember the little black kid that was with Sean William Scott?
Vaguely. I want to say you told me about this one before.
Well, he's they're basically Paul Rudd and Sean William Scott have to do community service, and they each get kind of like Paul Rudd gets McLovin, and Sean William Scott gets this little black kid who's like a handful, and he's like he has no filter. So he meets Paul Rudd, and he starts calling him Ben Affleck, and he goes, "You white? You Ben Affleck. And John William Scott goes to Paul Rudd, well, you are white. But when I saw Tom Phillips, the first thing I thought of is Josh Gresham, the old announcer. And in my head, I'm like, you white? You Josh Gresham. Or Todd Gresham. That was his name. Remember Todd Gresham with the glasses?
Oh yeah, definitely. That guy took a lot of promo punishment.
Yeah, and that's who I thought this was for like the longest time. I'm like, man, I can't believe, Todd Gresham's only 32. Because you white, you Todd Gresham. So, yeah, I don't like the change in announcing. I don't know why they let Matt Striker go. I don't know why people don't like him either. Like, there's never been a story about Matt Striker that has ever come out about why you shouldn't like him.
I don't know. Maybe, and he doesn't. I mean, I guess some people, just figure like he's a douche, like he has a douche demeanor, a douche face. For some people, I guess that they would call it a punchable face. Maybe they still associate him with the "I'm Matt Striker, you're a teacher" whole deal.
Well, he was criminally underpaid as a teacher, and he was criminally underpaid as a teacher gimmick.
Like they don't like his contribution to wrestling commentary is undeniable. He was voice of Lucha Underground, half of the voice, but specifically, the guy's great at his job. I don't know what the fallout was with him and Impact. I saw the statement. Doesn't sound like it was something he wanted to do. I was wondering if you had more insight on it, but
no.
I don't. Like I said, I don't know what happened there.
It could be as simple as he was overpaid, not overpaid, but he overpriced himself out of the job, or it could be a situation where they're looking at getting more eyes on them, and they thought that someone like Tom Phillips was more professional. Those are the only two things that I can think of, because like Matt Striker's not a sex pest. Like, he's not a racist. He's not a bad dude. Everyone loves him. So I don't know why they don't.
The folks listening, we're not lumping him Hannafin in that whole speaking out the deep waters of that, but it's just something that sincerely annoys Chad because it's
Well, he was involved in speaking out. He got out, I think, wasn't he? No, that was a few years beforehand. That's right. Yeah. That was a few years beforehand.
Yeah. But
don't be a douchebag and I'll like you. It's real simple.
Yeah, so he ain't quite a Joey Ryan, but let's not.
No, and there are levels to being a sex pest. Like, you could just be fucking belligerent. Like, you keep asking the same girl out every other week, and she says no, you're not doing anything illegal, but you're a pest. And like that's Hammerfin's level. He's just a pest. You don't like him. You don't want to deal with him. You just want him to fucking go away. Sure, maybe some of this is because I'm such a Matt Striker fanboy. I'll admit to that. Like, I got no problem being 100% transparent. But also, I don't like cheaters. It's one of the reasons I fucking hate Seth Rollins. I used to be a big Tyler Black fan, and then he fucked a Nazi. I'm sorry. You stick your dick in knowing Nazi? Like, you Nazi. Like, what do you want me to do about it? You don't want me to think that you're a racist? Don't fuck a racist. Like, if you're low-key banging someone you don't know is a Nazi, fair. There's a lot of people like, I didn't know she was married. Fair. But if you know she's a Nazi and you still stick your dick in her, what does that say about you? What does that say about you? I'm just saying. Marcus, have you ever stick your dick in Nazi before?
It's not my... What they said in Kingsman, the first one, that this ain't that kind of movie, bro. That's not that.
All right, speaking of that kind of movie, Jonah and Josh Alexander was pretty much the end of the first Fast and the Furious movie, where Toretto beats the train, but then hits the car and wipes out in this massive, awesome explosion of metal and junk. That was this match, only in human form.
Last time it felt real.
That's pretty much how it was. What I meant to kind of describe it as. This felt fucking real. Like, not the authentic anger, like, no. But just like, you can't fake getting squashed by 345 pounds. And Jonah was not going light on Josh, and Josh has a history of neck issues. So I'm kind of just sitting there like, Marcus, what'd they do to my boy Josh? I know he won, but like, damn.
Yeah, I think this match definitely made you appreciate the previous attacks
Yeah.
because it forced Josh to have to go in there with a game plan, even if all he wanted to do was be. And to be honest, unless you're Brock or somebody that's bigger than Jonah, which that's rare, there's no beating the piss out of Jonah.
Mm-mm.
You can hit him a bunch of times, and do a bunch of stuff, but essentially you kind of just stacking offense until you make a dent, he's a legitimate video game boss. Um, so yeah, it's all I could think about was watching, listening to you talk about it was like that scene out the first guy said, "Let them fight,
Pretty much.
let them fight."
I can't believe they killed him off in the sequel.
So bad, but no, yeah, man, this really was one of those, this was felt like a real war, and also we had a winner. But to me, and I don't know about you, it didn't look like it was necessarily over. But I almost wanted to be for Josh, one, because he still has a whole big ass moose to deal with. Um, but I could go for another round of this, you know.
I could too, and I think we're going to get more, but this was supposed to be the end of Jonah's current contract, but they had a similar deal in place for Morrissey after Bound for Glory. Like, Bound for Glory was supposed to be his last show, and he's still around. So I don't see why Jonah wouldn't re-up on a deal and continue working with Impact. I know he's working with New Japan Strong, but this could be a great opportunity for him to keep doing work here, especially if Samoa Joe, who got released, and we'll talk about that, if he comes back to the brand, even if on a short-term deal, Joe and Jonah. Isn't that a Jonah's brother, Joe Jonah?
No, you're right. That's perfect, almost perfect symmetry. But Joe popping up to either choke out Jonah or obviously Moose, because he's one of the few people that we've not seen come back to Impact. Think about it, we've seen Daniels, Kaz, Matt Hardy,
Maybe Jeff Hardy. We don't know. Mickey James came back.
Never know. Mickey James came back. We've seen James Storm over the past few years. Obviously the Guns. We know why Styles hasn't popped back up, but yeah, Joe would be a great one. Give him some time before, if he wanted to pop back up in Ring of Honor. Obviously, got some time before there's potential to do that. So you could definitely pop back up in Impact. That'll be sick.
So just want to point out real fast. One of the things that happened over the weekend was Danhausen put in an application for ANW, which obviously is kind of I don't know. Do you have ANW down in the South?
ANW.
You probably have ANW root beer, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Well, they also have a small chain of restaurants. So Danhausen apparently has one near him in Pennsylvania. So he picked up an application because it looks like ANW. So he fills it out, but everything in it is just the best. I'm not going to ruin anything. Go to Danhausen's Twitter account. He's my favorite wrestler going today because he doesn't have to wrestle to entertain me. He's like a 1960s B-movie horror host come to life, and he's the greatest thing in wrestling. I love it. Just more Danhausen.
Yeah. It's weird because I'm not a fan of Danhausen, but I'm a fan of how much Chad is a fan of Danhausen. So it's appreciation by osmosis.
You have to be a fan of Danhausen, or if we're being Danhausen about this, you have to be a fanhausen of Danhausen. He's just he's not a wrestler that I'm going to be like, oh my god, 5-star match, 6-star match, 7-star match. But you don't need I've never been a grade on a match type of guy. It's always is it entertaining? And Danhausen's comedy it tickles me in ways that I didn't think was possible at my age. So yes, more Danhausen, please. I will rep Danhausen.
But here goes more degrees of separation with Chad. Cause I didn't really like. Speaking of another smaller guy in face paint, I didn't really have appreciation, mostly because I'm like, this guy's legitimately trying to kill himself. An appreciation for
Darby Allen.
exactly until your boy started with him. It's so
I
he,
gotta admit, I'm right there with you for the
right
same
there
reason
with you.
too. For the same reason too.
Yeah. So
I now tolerate Darby because I get to have the Sting, the Stinghausen.
I still now that actually will be a great crossover. Like that'll be a great way to bring him in AEW. They could play up Sting's age, which would suck, but it's like he confuses the two. It's like, wow, man, did you get smaller? It's like
Bring
he
him
turns around,
in as Sting's illegitimate son
hilarious.
that was left in a Lex Luger body bag, not body bag, gym bag for too long. So now he's Danhausen, and Sting can be Dadhausen,
And he so desperately wants Darby to be the brother, and Darby's like,
and Darby
you
can be
said,
Darbyhausen. I
and
love it.
he's just completely annoyed with him, like he could just treat him like Ice Cube treated Kevin Hart in the first ride along. Fourth ride along is just it's not good. I still think Coffin Drop is one of the more dumber finishers. Um, this because it's like, why would you? That's your back and your head.
Uh,
Why do that? But speaking of AEW real quick, prayers up for Phoenix, just cause. Uh,
so
I,
what happened? Like what did Phoenix do to himself? Because I know he did some dumb stunt, obviously, but like I thought he just broke his arm. Is it worse than that?
uh, I don't think so, but I think it looked worse. And they said it wasn't broken or anything, but the way he landed on it, it looked like okay, something has to be torn or something. We don't exactly know specifics. They said it might not have been torn, but we haven't exactly gotten more information. So it's like, but it looked so bad because it legitimately looked like. And I think we talked about this one of them times where like when an NBA player just landed bad on his whole leg and it just went. It
So it
looked
was his
like that.
leg. Okay.
That was his arm. Let me cause that was yeah, that was not good. I keep having to remember you don't watch AEW unless it's something you need to keep immediately abreast with. Let's see. This would be it right here. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm about to send it to you. Brace yourself.
I don't get skeeved out too easy, so.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I already did that to you today with the tweet reply.
Yeah, that's a great way to get me skeeved out. I knew, I knew it, I knew it, I knew. When you sent me that tweet, I didn't even know what it was. I just knew it was a link to something, and I knew it wasn't going to be you doing something nice to me. I just knew it.
He said what? He said what in the fresh hell? Oh god. Yeah, so that's it.
Oh, okay. I was looking at his leg for some reason. I'm going to rewind this
Yeah,
because.
it's his arm, his
Oh,
left
it
arm.
got caught. Oh,
Yeah,
it got caught. Oh, it got caught.
yeah, that's why I said prayers up because
That's
that's not good.
painful, man. Ah! What the? Uh, poor
I'll get
Phoenix
skeeved out.
Hausen.
I'm like, oh man, you hate to see it legitimately. And Phoenix is one of those dudes, and this is one of those situations where it's just like, cause you can't never call it when you about to get slammed through something or take a fall. You just naturally brace yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help it, but man.
Well, he braced
Mm.
part of himself wrong way with his arm, but I mean, all right. Back to Hard to Kill.
Yeah.
Eddie, Swan, Mac, Rhino, and Heath defeated the Good Brothers in Violent by Design in a 10-man hardcore war. This was a fun little brawl.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind them bringing back Six Sides of Steel. Do some lethal lockdown, but all right, like I'll take this. That's fine. It was a fun brawl. Heath got the win, I think, on who was it? Eric Young? No, on a Good Brother.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was fine. But the big news story was obviously the image with it's on the screen right now. It's Ring of Honor wrestlers Matt Taven, Mike Bennett. They came out and attacked the winning side. And then Vincent came out. Then PCO came out. PCO did a rolling fucking thunder whatever on across who was it? Swan's neck. Neither guy got killed, so like that was a miracle. Well, miracle like because then we did see a miracle. Maria's ass. They're shooting the shot of all the guys beating up the good guys, and you just see an ass walk in front of the camera. I didn't need to know anything else. I knew it was Maria's.
I don't know. I forgot how many kids she has, but that woman has
Bounced back.
yes.
Having a child is very difficult. It's painful as shit, and it can wreck your body, quite literally. Maria is not taking any of those as excuses, and she's just. And I think she called herself like what was it, the mother or something like that, like right after the show ended. So like she's going full ham hock into it, and I appreciate that. Ironically, 3 of these 4 dudes were in the Kingdom at one point, so I thought that was kind of interesting. We have no idea what this is going to lead to, though. There's a part of me that thinks Impact's about to buy Ring of Honor. There really is. There was rumors like 2 years ago that was where it was going, where it was that Impact had a desire to buy Ring of Honor, but nothing ended up coming of it because of who knows what. Maybe COVID, maybe 1,000 other things. Maybe this isn't even a Ring of Honor thing, as it is a future stable, which I'd be fine with. Although you got PCO, you got Speedball Mike Bailey, which we will be talking about. You got Eric Young, you got Diener, you got Josh Alexander. I'm just saying, Team Canada. I know the lyrics to Oh Canada. We can do this. I don't know what this is going to be, but I am actually interested. I like Mike Bennett. I like Maria. I like PCO. Vincent's kind of interesting when he's not like pirate chicing right now. And Matt Taven exists. And that's the nicest thing I can say about him. I like him and Bennett as a tag team. But that's the nicest thing I can say about him. He's better than Adam Cole in my wanting to watch you list. But again, that's not saying much.
Yeah, I appreciate him being back with Taven and getting the OGK back, which is ironic because Cole was in the Kingdom. But yeah, that was cool to see. You know, didn't expect that. Got some more Ring of Honor cameos that were more civilized in the evening. Young lady that we both become fans of, particularly in the main event. But yeah, I mean that was just interesting to see just the whole narrative of like the spirit of Ring of Honor did die out because of Final Battle, and we actually seen these people probably pop up with the titles and keeping those whole things going. It's cool. I still want Swan and Mac to be the damn Impact Tag Titles. I think it's time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the narrative I've been with since last year, and I'm sticking to that. I think this match proves that they need to go ahead. They're doing nothing but sitting on the Good Brothers.
Yeah,
just sitting.
And that's the thing that really irks me. Like, I know they kind of want to do the Rhino Heath thing because Rhino's getting a little bit of buzz, and Heath is, I guess, over. I don't know why they're pushing the Good Brothers as hard as they are, because to me, it doesn't really seem like they're that big of a deal. I think there was a lot more buzz about them because of their association with AJ Styles, but I really don't think they're that big of a deal. So why are we still there? Like, pivot off of it. Go with Heath and Rhino and Swan and Mac. They need a name though, like Macalicious, Swan Dive, something. Just they need something. They need a name. They need to really embrace the tag team idea. I think they would be great tag team champions, though. I think they could do a lot with a lot of people. So, Moose defeated Matt Cardona and W. Morrissey in a match. It was there. Cool. And then Mickey James defeated Deanna Prazo for the Knockouts Championship in a Texas Death Match. That was... There was a lot of blown spots. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't think Mickey James is as good today as she was 15 years ago. I think she's lost noticeable amounts of steps. I don't think she's nearly as athletic. And there's a lot in this match that I thought would have been a lot better if it was Deanna Prazo versus anyone else. So to see Deanna lose kind of just fortified my thought, like, okay, I don't know what Impact's doing, and it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing. Oh, and now Mickey James is in the Rumble.
Yeah, I was definitely want to talk to you about it. So I was like, I wonder if that factored into the late narrative of the decision about this match.
I think so. I would say so, yeah.
Because I'm sitting up there like, we know it ain't nothing but a PR aesthetic thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is them giving you a nod after they literally tried to throw you out in the trash. Or throw your stuff out in the trash, I should say. But it's like I looked at the names in that Rumble, even the names that's actually people on the current roster. I'm like, I don't see anybody in it that deserves to win it. Like I get that you got these old names, but I don't care. You do this every year. It don't even make it feel special anymore. I'm just kind of happy to see these women still look good and kicking and doing their stuff, but the Rumble don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing to have her back because she didn't do shit when she was there.
Yeah. I think one of the other big issues with the Rumble itself is it's fine if you want to do a women's Rumble, but don't do two. If you want to alternate every other year, that's fine, but it's too much now. Like, they've ruined everything by trying to have two of each or one of each. Like, what are you doing? Stop it. We don't need two Hell in the Cells. We don't need two Rumble matches. Fucking stop. We don't need 2 nights of WrestleMania. We don't need 4 hours of WrestleMania. It's fuck. This company's terrible. I hate it.
Yeah, and like I said, I appreciate Mickey James, fan and all that, and love the fact that she literally did that call back to when she was a prime as that character in WWE.
Let's be as diplomatic as possible. Let's choose our words, be appropriate, and not be condescending. The Vagina Spot was fantastic. Deanna, so if you are new to wrestling, Mickey was shooting with Trish in 06, and she grabbed Trish by the vagina. And I don't know, I had to double check. I don't know if there was an attempt of fondle with it. Don't know, maybe some accidental penetration. I don't know. But she grabbed and hauled. And they did a recall to that spot with Deanna Prazo, only for some reason Mickey wasn't affected by it like Trish was. And Mickey, even though she did the finger spot where she licked the fingers in 06, she did it again in 2022. But it was like, why are you doing... Deanna should be doing... All right, I'm not going to overthink this. It was awesome. But that was the standout moment of the match because, like, what else did you have? I think there was a kendo stick spot maybe, and then there was Deanna trying to kick the table Mickey was holding, but Mickey's 5'1" and Deanna's 5'2", and like their legs didn't connect with the table. I'm just sitting there going, oh, it's like watching toddlers play pretend. Like, what are you doing? If you can't do the spot, don't do the spot.
Yeah, and Deanna's really grown on me both from an in-ring and character perspective, but it's just like her and I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm just kind of over. Like, I've evolved past where Mickey still is as a fan of women's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like she's still very much in the spot where, like, her arsenal and everything with it is still catered to being in the WWE style, and I don't really need that. And it's just like I feel like I could have got more out of like a Deanna, and she shined in that Ultimate X match too, Lady Frost.
I'm liking Lady Frost. She got a very good base to her. I don't think Ultimate X is going to be her bread and butter, But like, how many
Yeah.
dudes were in Ultimate X that had no business being in it? It's not an indictment against her. I think she's got a really good base. I think they said she was like a wrestler in high school, or like she had like judo training or something like that.
Yeah.
So like she has a good base to her, and she knows how to do good in ring works. It's just, yeah, she wasn't great in the Ultimate X match, and that's fine. I don't need her to be.
Yeah.
With Mickey,
Yeah.
she was a good wrestler for her era, but that era
Yeah.
has not improved,
Yeah.
and it's only gotten worse because time takes away everything, and it takes away athletic ability. And whatever Mickey James was in 2006, she hasn't been for a very long time. And now you have a group of women that are far and away better than Mickey was in her prime, and Mickey's no longer in her prime. So now she's just a gigantic step back comparatively.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. I'm don't like she got you like, oh my God. She hit her with the Thesz, but like, what the hell is a Thesz press?
She smacked him face first with her crotch, and Matt Rywald or Rewald or whatever his name is took the brunt of it.
The hell is a Thesz press? And I'm sorry, she needs to get something else besides that horrendous looking jumping DDT. It never looks good. It never looks good.
It looks like she's about to break the person's neck legitimately, and that's something.
And it definitely didn't look good last night. I'm like, I've seen better botched versions of the Starship Pain than that, and it's just like Mickey, I dig you. I didn't really see the point of. I got the in town aesthetic of it. I'm like, take the chaps off, please.
Yeah, so on one hand, I really dug that she wore them because that's one of my things. Is like I like when wrestlers embrace their gimmick in their ring attire. On the other hand, she could have designed ring attires that brought in the chap aesthetic without actually using chaps. You know, or like shorten them up significantly so you weren't stepping on them every other way. But I will say this: Mickey has at least embraced her country girl aesthetic with her ring gear, and that's more than a lot of people can say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they look good. She always looks good.
I mean, no one's
She always looks good. It goes with the hardcore country of it all, and the crowd loved her. She really looked like one thing I certainly appreciate about her being champion, even though I would prefer it still to be Deanna, is that she literally enjoys being champion, knows the lineage, and has respect for that title, and is not just wearing it as a contractual obligation for a false partnership.
Mm-hmm.
I'd agree with that. I did that. So.
I think with Mickey, it isn't that she's on TV that I have an issue with, because like there are wrestlers where like I see them, I'm like, I'm just out. I've always liked Mickey. The problem is Mickey isn't as good as she needs to be in the position that she's in. And you can be an aged veteran. Like, I'm fine with that. But Mickey's style isn't conducive to long-term use. Like, she's always been very athletic and very, I don't want to say high flyer-ish, but she's a quick wrestler. She's a hiccup, Like, everything she does is about speed and momentum. And when you're a wrestler like that and you get older, if you don't update your style, which she hasn't, it doesn't go well. Like, you look at someone like Ricky Morton, he's like nearly 70, but all he does is throw punches now. Could you imagine if Ricky Morton was still trying to do everything he did 40 years ago? It'd look awful. So there's still obviously opportunity because you're buying a character. You're not buying necessarily, a style. Like, this isn't like MMA where, if your style actually declines and you get knocked out, like, you can't ever come back. Like, Ken Shamrock had retired long before the Tito Ortiz fight because his knees were shot. Couldn't wrestle anymore. So when you look at Mickey, it's like you don't need to retire, but you need to do something different because you're not what you once were and you haven't changed. And that's the issue. So I think if she were to update her style more, maybe go with more strikes.
More ground and pound,
Yeah, I think she could have a she could rejuvenate her career. There it is.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, it felt like that's what Melina did.
Melina's doing a lot more submission work, and Melina used to be just like Mickey James in terms of like that quick, athletic, up-in-your-face style, but now she's doing a lot more groundwork, and she's very entertaining to watch still, even though they're about the same age. I think Melina's 41, and Mickey's 42. Yeah, they both can still do stuff. They just need to. With Mickey, she needs to find how to do it best at her age. And this isn't some, oh, she's a woman. I said the same thing about Sting. Kurt Angle. Doesn't matter. Like, if you can figure out a way to maintain your relevancy despite your declining
Yeah.
abilities, you're fine. Sting went full hardcore war in 2011. So,
Sting is another one of those people who doesn't do a lot,
doesn't need to.
but he makes it look like he is, and he
He's
knows
Stinghausen.
exactly knows what to do when Kurt does the same thing. God bless him, but them latter years in his TNA run, he was taking people. He was Suplex City in before Brock was.
Yup.
German, angle slam, ankle lock for 30 minutes, moonsault that he misses, and then he goes back to the ankle lock. And some matches less than that because of how that knee was, because of how slow moving he was. So,
Yeah.
but God bless him, he Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But like I think it perfectly encapsulates what you said for where she is. It doesn't necessarily warrant where she's at. And if she got in the ring with, and even put the controversy aside, somebody like Tessa would be doing a lot of slowing down.
Yeah, Tessa's very impactful, but as she gets older, assuming she still has a career, you could see a lot of her base stuff still working because she throws a lot of forearms, a lot of kicks, a lot of drop kicks, a lot of slams. But it wouldn't be nearly as fast, but it could still work because it doesn't fade away. Because like the thing that people and to pivot from one personality that has issues to another, Hulk Hogan. If you ever watched him in New Japan in the 70s and early 80s, he has the ability to work, or at least he did. But when he hit WCW, he knew he couldn't do that anymore, so he didn't try. And he still lasted another 8 or 9 years on top. So, it's all about adapting. That's all it is. Like, adapt to your situation. You can have a long career. Look at Tom Brady. Dude went full cleanse diet, changed the way he works out, and he's gonna probably win an MVP at 45. So I'm just saying, I get it works. If you adapt, it works. So anything else from Hard to Kill you want to talk about before we move on?
Did I miss something with Mikey Speedball?
Oh yeah, so he was on the pre-show. Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
They had two matches on the pre-show. Jake Something, who was supposed to be in the other match on the pre-show, is originally scheduled to be a four-way. Ace Austin, Chris Bane, Laredo Kid, and Jake Something. They moved Jake Something to a different pre-show match involving Madman Fulton, which was fine. Jake Something got the win, and Madman Fulton looked good in that match too. I don't know if he's been training extra hard or what, but Madman Fulton probably had his best match of his career in that. Which, it's a 5-minute match on the pre-show, so I don't know if that's exactly a great endorsement, but it's something. And then Mike Bailey took on Ace Austin, Chris Bane, Laredo Kid, and this was a lot of fun. There were a lot of great stunts and spots that they pulled in this. I love Mike. He's a karate practitioner, so he comes down. He's got the gi on. Then he has the dangling black belt from his gear. Most of his moves are strike based, and he's just a lot of fun. He's just chaotic energy all the way out, and he looked real good in this. I think he ended up pinning Ace Austin, of all the people. So Speedball is going to be huge. He's going to be huge. He's got a unique style when people don't have unique styles. So I think people are going to be real high on him. At least they should be. So definitely check out Speedball. Okay. So let's move on. Talk about Samoa Joe getting released again in a year, twice in a year by the same company. Samoa Joe did not wear a poncho in Florida for this type of behavior. Come on. Joe's old. Joe's severely out of shape. His knees have taken a pounding. He's one of those dudes where he's only had, I got so many bumps left on his bump card. He definitely doesn't move as he once did. Even when he debuted in NXT in, 2015 or 2016, he was still not anywhere close to prime Joe circa 2005, 2006. But I feel like Joe still has something to offer. If he, he doesn't need to lose, 100 pounds, right? But if he gets himself back into a bit better shape and works out and improves his endurance and stamina, I think maybe he could do some real work still. He's got a style that's very conducive. Strikes and submission holds never really fade. And that's pretty much all he does anymore. I don't think you're going to see a lot of that running single leg sit out drop kick thing he used to do. Maybe you'll still see it once in a while. And like that snap, what is that? The snap body slam that he did back in the day. You're not going to see a lot of that because he doesn't have the same torque on his body anymore. But I think mostly speaking, I think he's going to be a guy that can still do a lot of what he used to do. But what do you think the ceiling on Joe is going forward? At his current condition with his knees, the back, everything the way they are. What do you think his ceiling is as a wrestler?
I feel like if he get re-inspired and like you said, it's a certain thing you just can't do. Deterioration is deterioration when you get older, and obviously I think, being a wrestler only doubles that speed and that deterioration at which it happens. But I think if we see him maybe get back into the shape he was when he first came to NXT, I think it felt like he had slimmed down and trimmed down, kind of like James Storm did when he got in shape.
Mm-hmm.
He could still do some. So, like you said, he could switch his style up a little bit, do more this submissions, ground and pound, which has been a lot of his game anyway. And that character always works no matter the size he's at. So, I think, like I said, if he gets re-inspired to do some stuff, obviously I feel like he'd be re-inspired because I don't think he got to, do what he really wanted or could have did. Obviously he had this thing across, but that kind of got cut. So I think there's definitely still a place for him. Like I said, I'd love to see him back in Impact, but you never know. So many forbidden doors opening now and whatnot. But I think, like you said, I think those glory days are obviously gone. But it's just few characters that carry a legitimacy when they are on, like Samoa Joe is when he's on. So I think there's definitely still a place for him.
I think you're right. I think in the right company, maybe he could even have a world title run. I don't know if Impact would be a good place for that, but I think there's still a lot of viability left in him. But we will definitely see what happens going forward. That's for sure. Marcus, how much of Wrestle Kingdom did you watch?
Well, it's about the first show, and then majority of the second show. They haven't gotten to the third one yet.
I have not watched the third one yet because I'm waiting for it to come on New Japan World.
Yeah.
But I watched the first 2 nights, stayed up late, watched everything but the main event both nights. Then I woke up and watched the main events. I liked it. I thought it was a solid set of shows. For me, it's a spectacle. Like, it's an event. Like, I got some specialty foods, and I fucked up my work schedule and sleep schedule to watch it. So, like, yeah, it's fun. I wish I could be doing it with people and not just by myself, but it's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
What did we think about the fact that who ended up winning? Okada ended up winning. Are we all right with that?
Yeah. Because they waited a long time. Like, he's not been champion since Omega knocked him off.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's been a while, and we've seen him like go through a journey. Like, he was, got knocked off the mountain, and then ended up being happy, lucky Okada, where he was coming out with balloons and stuff and whatnot, and kind of lost some of that grandiose demeanor, and then we slowly but surely kind of got back into that and had to kind of climb back up the mountain. And this is kind of what that looks like. Obviously,
it's been my 2 years. So you're right.
Yeah, it's been 2 years. He been 2 years, and we watched him transition through some times with that. So, and obviously my guy Shingo had to be knocked off, but it also had the added application that Okada brought back the OG title. That on top of shedding Big Mouth Ospreay up, I can't be mad at that. Who was claiming to be the uncrowned champion. So I don't mind it. Like, when you do stuff like that, Okada was the king so long, and then we wait 2 years. I think that's definitely a right, appropriate time to kind of put it back on them, because we see people get shots like that once and they never so much as even sniff the title again. So to see somebody actually climb back up to the mountain, I appreciate it. I'm not a hater of Okada. He's not necessarily my favorite, but the respect I have for the guy, for the the journey he had. Because when I started first watching New Japan, that was the night that he lost to Tanahashi and was crying as they was carrying him to the back.
Oh yeah, I think that was the first time he headlined. I think.
Yeah, yeah. So to see him go from that the way he, the back the way he is now, it's been, nothing but respect for that guy.
Yeah, I think that was what 20. Was
Was
it
that
was
14?
was it Wrestle Kingdom or was it like Dontaku or Dominion?
No, it was definitely Wrestle Kingdom because that's when Tanahashi was still the man.
So let's see. When did he lose at Wrestle Kingdom?
I got picked up.
Nakamura, Tanahashi.
Might have been 9. Was it 9? Yeah, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Kazuchika Okada 30 minutes and 57 seconds at WrestleMania. Not Jesus, Wrestle Kingdom 9. That was in 2015.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Shinsuke beat Ibushi for the IG. So, uh,
It wasn't a
I
title. He
see.
defended it. Tanahashi
Yeah,
defended the title.
defended. Yeah, he
Okay,
defended it.
okay. I was looking at title changes and I was like, I don't see it.
Gotcha. Yeah, he defended it against Okada, and that's when he went to the back and was crying. And Tanahashi was like, "Yeah, bitch, you ain't ready for me." The look he had on his face when he was walked off crying, I was like, "Wow."
Ah, good stuff. All right. Definitely, I would say match of night one, in my opinion, probably was Shibata and Narita, just because of, Shibata's return.
Yeah.
I think that was the more emotional match.
Hmm.
But I actually kind of like Show and Yo. I like the opener. I like when tag teams that have run their course do a great blood feud. Not every tag team needs one,
Yeah.
but I like this one. It was great, and they did the white and black. The light and dark, the good cowboy, bad cowboy aesthetic. I like that. That was dope.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm partial to I'm always partial to the juniors match, but Desperado and Takahashi are two of the best. Desperado's kind of slept on a lot of ways, and also Takahashi is, you know, um, a damn New Japan darling at this point. People love Takahashi, but yeah, I didn't expect him to lose, and he took a L. So
Night two, I would say my match of the night was. I'm gonna go Naito Cobb, even though Cobb lost. Runner up going to Suzuki, winning the what was that tournament? The KOTW tournament, KOPW. He won the
yeah, absolutely.
they won. They were the four in the battle royal, and then Suzuki did that.
Yeah.
I love the whole gimmick was that like Chase Owens was trying to be a badass to Suzuki and failing. I loved it. It's
You
great.
can't just appreciate the effort, but that's a no. Um, if they would have let old like if y'all let Sonata lose the great old Khan, like I'm gonna have to hop off the bandwagon. Cobb seldom has a bad match in Naito, even though I'm not a big Naito guy. When he's in the right situation, paired with somebody like Cobb, that's always must see. Um, I don't know if you can actually go wrong with a Tanahashi Kenta situation, and then obviously Okada and Ospreay are two of the best. So that second night, though, that final stretch was on some good stuff. That final stretch of 3, I should say.
Yeah. Now I haven't seen the third night. You haven't seen the third night. We're gonna see the third night eventually. Then we'll talk about it. I'm a
Yeah,
fan of anytime two companies come together. So I dig that.
absolutely.
Last up, we had a little drama on the Twitterverse involving Kenny Omega. I want to talk about this mostly because there's a lot to unpack here. Not a long conversation to have, but there's a lot to unpack here. Basically, it all started when some dude found a photo of Rio and Kenny Omega from like a decade ago, and they were doing like Dragon Ball Z poses. Rio was maybe like 15 at the time, and the fan basically said like this is weird or something like that, and basically divulged into the fact that it was weird because Kenny was nearly 30, cosplaying a Goku Dragon Ball Z anime thing with Rio, who was like a teenager. And Kenny didn't take it too kindly and basically accused the dude of like, well, you're saying a lot of things about how weird it is for me to hang out with a teenager, but yet, you're probably the dude fondling kids in your photo. And the guy was a dad, and the guy's like, this is my daughter. And he goes like, yeah, and I'm just going, none of this is okay. Like, you are both the dumbest human beings I've ever seen. So basically, a fan accused Kenny of being a pedophile for hanging out with 15-year-olds. And granted, not a pedophile, but pedophiles are prepubescent only, and it's far worse than hanging out with a 15-year-old. Just is. Like, there are layers to issues. Like, let's just be clear about that. There are always going to be layers. So Kenny's being accused of hanging out with teenagers, and he didn't take that too kindly. Then he accused the dad that accused him of fondling his own daughter. And it's like, well, all right, none of this is okay. And everyone came to Kenny's defense or accused Kenny, and then Kenny's apparent sexuality, which has never been publicly disclosed. It's always just been tongue-in-cheek speculated. That came into the fray, and people were like, oh, yeah, well, Kenny's twinkle toes because, I guess, if Kenny is gay, and we don't know if Kenny is gay, just speculation, then calling him twinkle toes is pretty goddamn offensive. But then it got even picked up even further with people like, well, you'd never see an executive in the WWE doing this. And I'm kind of just sitting here like, all right, the toxicity in wrestling has reached a boiling point. Fans are stupid. And Twitter needs to be shot in the back of the head. All social media needs to be shot in the back of the head. Like, just put 2 bullets in it and call it a day. Because I feel like we've gotten to a point where if you can just say that, because Kenny was a mentor to Rio in Japan. If you can actually just accuse a dude of being, some diddler of teenagers with no repercussions, I feel like that's fucked up. But in turn, to accuse a dude of fondling his own daughter, like Kenny, that's not okay. I always say this, and it needs to be said. Just because it's done to you doesn't make it okay when you do it back. Being the bigger person is not a bad thing, because the way someone treats you is not indicative of who you are, but it's indicative of who they are. So when you take that low road and start lobbing back insults, it makes you no better than them. I hate that people don't seem to realize it, and they always take this childish, well, they did it first mentality. No. That's not cool. So I'm at this point, Marcus, where I'm like, Kenny, on one hand, definitely deserves to be, I don't want to say protected, but he was a victim. Like, some dude came at him like an asshole. But on the other hand, Kenny returned and became an asshole in itself. And it's like, neither of you guys are in the right. Neither of you guys look good. But I'm also pissed off about WWE fans who are like, well, you'd never see Shane McMahon doing this. But, like, Vince has been accused of rape twice. He tried to fight Bob Costas because Bob Costas asked him a question. He's known for being a belligerent asshole. But because he doesn't tweet at fans negatively, that makes him okay. Like, wrestling fans are stupid. They just are. Like, I have no other way. Like, granted, Marcus, we've seen anime fans. I've been a victim of the Iris West fandom to the point where I fucking just stopped watching the show because they're the worst human beings ever.
Me and Shad have practiced a 300 shielding formation for the CW stuff back in the consistency of the Nerd Corp days.
Mm-hmm.
4 days, I should say, because it was just Reddit's thing. Like, those CW people, like I said, wrestling Twitter, the Star Wars of it all, this thing happening with the, developing of the Snyder quote-unquote cultists or whatever the freak is on Twitter, and all that toxicity and whatever about these damn super movies. Like, it's weird. But these people, like I said, when you have avatars and whole accounts dedicated to people who get paid to fake act like people, it's it's that slippery hole. But yeah, wrestling fans, and you saw me tweet back, and shout out to Papa on Jutsu talking about those AEW fans act like AEW started everything. Open the door for everything, and it's like, no, it's just like I said, they're the new hotness,
Mm-hmm.
and you're probably just on board with switching the narrative because you're bitter, angry, and been mentally and emotionally bludgeoned by WWE from releasing somebody that is probably that you love that is probably better off for no longer being employed with the company, whether you want to admit it or not right now. And they've kind of weaned you off of wrestling because they don't put on quality wrestling. So kind of just need to get over it. But that's stupid. Like you come at me with the pedo thing, which I get the energy for it. Like nobody wants that lobbed at them. But it's also so serious that to lob it back, like you don't want to play pedo ping pong. You
No.
get what I'm saying? Like, it's just like that. It just doesn't help. So somebody to see that and be like, I need to pick a side. There is no side. There are no winners here. Okay? Because God forbid both things are true. Okay, there are no winners. Okay?
Yeah, you don't want to hitch your wagon to either one of those instances.
Exactly.
And there's no reason to believe that either instance is true, but
Yeah.
still. It's that one line from Christopher Titus' stand-up special where he's like, nothing made me want to be a wife beater before than being accused of being a wife beater by my ex-wife. And it's that kind of mentality. Like, if you don't get mad at some things, like, now, like, you don't need to always like express it. Like, if someone's like, yeah, you're a racist, Chad, I'm gonna be like, that's kind of a fucked up thing to say to me. Like, why would you say that? But I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, but at least I didn't know, because I know I'm not a racist. I don't need to defend it to some stranger. It's just like, all right, that bothered me. Like, why would you do that? But imagine like calling me a racist and then I burn a cross on that person's front lawn to prove I'm not. Like that. Like that's some logic leaps, right? Like.
I think that brings, and this is gonna bring it back full thing and close it, because it's like when you say to the people that's listening may be mildly offended by calling, I'm part of wrestling, what are you dumb? You kind of got the good, got to suffer for the bad, because what Chad's talking about is if both things actually were proven to be true and both of them were that in an alternate universe, wrestling Twitter would find a way to be like, yeah, well he doesn't do it as much as you do.
They
Like
would they would go into the ages like, well, Rio's 15, so it's less gross. That's what they would do. That's what they would do. Well, in Germany, the age of consent is 14. So Kenny didn't do anything wrong. And then you would get the maps. You ever hear the map community?
No.
I was super excited because I'm like, oh, I love cartography. Let's talk about maps and globes. Nope. Nope. That's not what maps are. So if you ever see someone who's a map and you think, oh, they're going to tell me about, maps and globes and shit. Nope. They're basically the community that are supposed to like approve of pedophilia, saying that it's natural. So if you ever see someone's a map, just drown them.
Oh,
I'm all about converting Nazis into normal people. You can't convert pedos. They just need to burn.
That whole thing about it's not a crime, it's a preference, individuals.
Yup.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's
And here I was thinking I was going to be able to bust out my my atlases. Look at Eastern Europe when it was. Yeah, a map is a minor attracted person. So you just know that if Kenny was in fact a pedo, or if he was doinking teenagers, that the maps would come out to defend him. You just know it. Like, you know it. If Vince was a racist. I can't finish.
It's like it's hilarious that you said, like like there was you saw two people playing pedo ping pong. It was like, who would be a good example to defend a point here? A McMahon. It's like, what? It's like wrestling Twitter ain't shit.
No.
You went to McMahon of all the wrestling families and notable people in the industry. You went to a McMahon. Shane down the list, and no shot at Shane. We don't know anything necessarily damning right now, but you used a McMahon.
Yeah, I know. If Vince was a racist, yeah, I know. I see yeah. It's just one of those things where don't be a weirdo. Like, you don't need to comment on everything. Like, and that's the thing that kind of bothers me about this. Like, the dude didn't have to say anything. Like, he didn't need to say that's weird to the photo, right? Like, there didn't need to be anything said. One of my biggest issues with politicians and people in general today, it's not necessarily who you voted for or what you believe. It's how you express it. I don't like antagonists. I don't like people who go around trying to start fights for no reason. So when I see someone like Madison Cawthorn, I'm like, God, I want to punch you in the face. Not because I think you're a bad dude. I mean, I do, but that's not why. I know a lot of bad dudes I don't feel the urge to punch. It's because you're a belligerent jackass.
Yeah, it's some of you, and we talked about this extensively with the Nazi humper, but some of you are just way
Excuse me,
too
Marcus. That's not his name. His name is Nazi frickin' Humper.
Nazi freaking humper.
Yeah. Wait, sorry, that was Becky Lynch. Oh. I make no apologies.
Yeah, like, and I'm, obviously this happened too, but sometimes like it's Twitter, and it's easy to, instantly put out something specifically when you're in your feelings about it. But some people in the particular industries, particularly in this industry in positions of power, are just too easily butthurt and oversensitive to call themselves a boss,
Mm-hmm.
and don't really recognize when it's like, even if I can, don't mean I should. Like that crap Tony Khan pulled with Big Swole.
Yeah, like, all right, Tony. Like, and like that was the thing. Like, I thought Big Swole was inherently wrong with her comments, but then Tony's like, "Look at me and my big dick energy," and I'm like, Tony, you were winning. Why did you let them score? Like, what are you doing? Why were you the goalie who's like, I'm gonna go stand in the stands and let them just kick an open goal? Tony, what are you doing? So then he made himself look worse because, like, all right, bro, you don't need to count him out. You could have just said, I respect her opinion, I just don't agree. Because it's okay to disagree.
All you had to say.
Right? That's all you had to say, homie. Because she was wrong. You are a brown dude. She didn't incorporate you in the minority, and that made her wrong. But then you went and counted. Why are you counting minorities? I know you were one yourself, but like, why are you doing it? And then he didn't even apologize. Like, all right, fine, like I get it, fine, fair, but who? And then like not Anthony Bowens, who is it? Hobbs. He was like, yeah, I'm black and I like him, so that makes him okay. And I'm just sitting here going, oh my God, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen.
It was so bad. Like, people can feel how they want to about Swole comments. Like I said, it's her experience.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, because we've been criticizing AEW out the gate just for stuff that we see. We can only imagine what she's seen, and she's been behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be 10 times worse. But I can understand that some people feel a way about it being in public. But she didn't even take direct shots at him. Just the environment of how things go. Like, you can't have certain people dictating certain pace and then freeballing it when certain people need constraints,
Mm-hmm.
which we talk about all the time with WWE. But the whole, like, you come out like a 15-year-old kid that somebody inadvertently threw a rock at near your car, didn't even hit your car. And you like, oh, murder because she wasn't good. And people like, whoa, now, hold up. If we talking about talent, let's not do roster specifics right now. Because you're digging your hole, and it's like, if you felt that way about her, and you came out with that means you felt that way the whole time, and you used this as an excuse to finally say it.
Mm-hmm.
And publicly, because you clearly didn't say it to her face. So that leads some people, I would imagine, to believe, who else do you feel that way about, and have not said anything about, or haven't had an excuse to get rid of to say this about? See the position you put yourself in, boss man? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that are just. It's okay to not be on social media. Right? Like, Tony, delete the account. You don't need to be on Twitter. It's not helping you. And that's the thing. I don't know many Tony Khan tweets that get a lot of press. Because, mostly it's his interviews that he does, during post shows. Like, that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. So, I'm sitting here, but, the thing that really pisses me off about that, all right, yeah, the Kenny and the fan thing, don't call each other pedos. That's fucked up. Don't do that. But the thing that really pisses me off about like the Tony Khan and the Big Swole thing is how many people are now going on the but look how well the WWE does, books black talent. That makes them better. It's like this isn't like a fucking RPG. Like recent booking of black talents doesn't make that company better or worse. Like you using them as an argument point is so fucked up. You don't need to, render a person down to just a bullet point to slap somebody in the face with in an argument. It's no different than sexually fetishizing someone because of the race. Using a person's race as an argument point for why something is better or worse is inherently fucked up. They're people, not props. I fucking hate it. I do. I fucking hate it. So, like, whenever I see someone like, well, they booked Big E for 6 months as champion, that makes them more progressive. He's a person. He's not just a black dude. He's a black dude, sure, but he's a person. Don't use that as an argument for why AEW sucks, because you're basically tearing down who he is as an individual. Like, fucking hell, man. Oh, I hate fans like that. Like, stop. I hate when they do it with the women. I hate when they do it in general. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Homie, don't do it. You're just going to make yourself look like an asshole. Don't do it. Don't be Dennis Leary. Do it. This ain't 1997. We don't give a shit. Don't do it. Oh, Marcus, wrestling fans, generally speaking, just piss me off. Because so many of them are tribalistic little douches. Like, I don't watch the WWE. If you tell me you did, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're fucking stupid. If you tell me that I'm stupid for not watching WWE, all right, then I'm going to tell you you're fucking stupid. Because who the fuck cares? It's tribalistic bullshit. I don't watch a lot of AEW, but I do. I'll watch WWE on occasion. Impact, MLW are really my two go-tos. I just got New Japan World, so I'm going to be watching a lot more of New Japan Strong. I watched the most recent episode. That was pretty cool. Like, that's usually my wheelhouse. I like obscure, lesser talked about stuff, not because they're obscure and lesser talked about, but because that's usually the stuff that caters to me.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with watching AEW. If you watch WWE and you enjoy it, more power to you. I don't know how you enjoy it, but more power to you.
Yeah, and as staunch fans of BVS, we know these narratives all too well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not at all too different. Like if wrestling fans went over to like the comic book fans, it'd be like that scene out of the first Spider-Man. We and you are a lot. We're all so different, you and me. He had him trapped on the roof.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We also, for me. Like, yeah, it's just, yeah, the tribalism, like you said, the toxicity of it all, and people needing to crap on something to lift something else up. It's just how they wired. It's just, it's how
And I
they
never
wired.
understood that. Like, you don't need to tear another person, group, or whatever down to make yourself look better. Like, if you have to do that, then there's nothing you can say about yourself or your representation or whatever it is that you're standing for, if you will, that is going to make you look good in context. If you got to tear something down that far, then Jesus Christ, how bad is the thing you're repping? Like, I don't need to tear down AEW to rep MLW. I love MLW. They do a great product. I love their ring, like their literal ring. I love it. They got the giant emblem in the middle. Oh, I love it. It's fantastic. I don't need to shit on everyone else's company though to make my love. And like that's the thing that really pisses me off about everything. Like I'm gonna go with the flow kind of dude. Like I don't like a lot of upheaval and change, but like if you leave me be, I'm cool with whatever happens around me. Just like if you're gonna change something in my direct world, just let me know, because I will adapt. It's just change for me personally is a little difficult. I like feeling safe, right? But around me, have at it. Go for it. And the reason I do that is because like I don't need to approve of your thing to validate you. My approval should not mean anything for your own validation. Whether it's gender, your political ideals, whatever. My opinion cannot validate or invalidate you. Period. I don't have that kind of power. God, when I was 22, I wish I did. But at 35, I know that I don't have that power. So if me not liking the thing you like or me not agreeing with you on the thing you agree on hurts the way you view that thing or yourself, then it is a specifically and wholly you issue. So when it comes to wrestling, I don't need to like what you like. Marcus doesn't need to like what I like. He doesn't like Danhausen. And I do. One of us is clearly a bad human being. Which one, though? It's me. It's me. But, like, I don't need him to like it. Like, I love Danhausen. I wish he loved Danhausen so that way I could talk to him about our love of Danhausen. But I don't need him to like Danhausen. It's fine. And I'm not a big Shingo Takagi fan. He is. You know, he loves him some Takagi, and that's cool. I'm just of the mindset that when it comes to wrestling or life in general, unless it's directly affecting you in a physical and emotional way,
Exactly.
you can just let it go.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing. But that's what Twitter is, not letting shit go. And then when you get tired when you get exhausted of not letting it go from your perspective, then you be like, you guys need to let stuff go. I'm like, okay. All right, Captain. Okay, Captain. All right. Let's go. But to get back to me and you for a second, to be fair, me and Chad cross enough wires with just liking the same women that on everything else, like, you know what, we can, we don't need to come together on that.
I'm slowly building a Rock'em Sock'em robot ring in my backyard for the anticipation that Marcus and I will have to, in fact, fight one day for our Lady Paramours. I expect it. I expect it to happen. I truly do. It's like that line from Remember Titans. I killed my brother with malice in my heart. I may just have to. I'm sorry. I don't want it to come to that, but like,
one of us could be in the hospital bed talking about some left side.
I'm just saying, if Kerry Washington's available, homie's getting choked out.
That conversation going down there the same too. I feel like it's my fault you're here. Like it is.
Don't you remember throwing me down a flight of stairs? Vaguely, but that was after. I'm pretty sure I did that after you hit me in the head with a fire extinguisher. So, like, you know.
What's your Rock'em Sock'em Superman punch? And I went tumbling down the 3 flights.
All right. So, overall, general census is don't accuse people of being pedophiles when you don't actually know they're pedophiles. I feel like that's self-explanatory. Don't be a douchebag to wrestling fans that don't like the things you like because they don't need to like the things you like. Them not liking it doesn't invalidate you. It's cool. And Marks and I are slowly planning for that Star Trek-like brawl to the death with those giant fucking scythe things that they fought with in Muck Time.
Yeah, we both individually have our own music in our heads, and then some idiots off on the side going, it's like, we don't need music of the fates right now.
That's the only good thing that came. Well, that and the Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan Kenobi castings. Like that song and those two castings are the only two good things that came out of the prequels. I do have a soft spot for Natalie Portman, though, just in general. Oh, and Jimmy Smith was in the prequels. All right, there's a few things I liked in the prequels. Jimmy Smith. I like Jimmy Smith. He's great in everything. Jimmy Smith's make bad things great. I love him. Nero. I gotta watch that fucking sequel show. Mayans. What are they on? Season 3 now? Season 4?
Yeah, I think they are. And ironically, it's funny because like Power done spent off into a whole universe to the point where Tommy has his own show now, Force, and our favorite Irishman, right hand of Jackson, Sons of Anarchy, is a main character.
See, I thought they were gonna go real kind of low-key racist and call it like Frost or Snow. I'm glad they didn't, but I was expecting it. Oh, and Dexter New Blood ended predictably, and it broke my heart, and I'm mad because there's not going to be any more Dexter, and I'm like,
Oh, man.
Damn it. So, I don't know. TV shows, right?
Right.
Oh, watch Cobra Kai. Season 4 is great. They're definitely setting up Season 5 to be the finale, I think.
How did they, obviously, well, spoilers, you think they pulled off the All Valley,
Very well.
good?
Very well.
Good.
I really liked everything they did with it. Everything. I'm not even going to say like, oh yeah, it wasn't surprising or it was surprising. I'm not going to give you any fucking adjectives. It was good. I
Gotcha.
liked it.
Gotcha.
I like what they're doing with the storyline. I like where they're kind of heading with this. Um, I think the only thing you can really say is that they're kind of hammering home a little too often on the Johnny is a bad father trope, like they've been doing for the
Mm,
last 3 seasons. It's like, all right,
yeah.
like, can he learn something, please? Granted, there were a lot of scenes where he showed a lot of development, and I'm happy
Yeah.
about that. So, like, overall, it's a real good season. I don't know if it's my favorite season, but it's definitely my favorite ending.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Do you? Are you one of the ones that think Miguel and Russo's daughter don't have no chemistry, and then like,
I do, but that's mostly on Mary Mauser because, like, the kid that plays Miguel
Miguel?
is like ultra charismatic, and like, how do you not have chemistry with him? Like, everyone has chemistry with him. So, like, I don't know. I think that's her name,
Yeah.
Mary Mauser.
Yeah. And everybody's calling for Johnny's kid to be with Tori.
Yeah, Tori. Like, that was one of my favorite parts of the season is what they did with Tori. I really liked her
Yeah.
when they introduced her. I saw her a lot in that fucking Sweet Life show because I was babysitting my nieces a lot when that show was on. So I watched it because like they wanted to watch it, and she was fun. She was great timing, great comedic timing. But in Cobra Kai, she's so much more refined, and like you can tell she can carry scenes of just heavy emotional weight without doing much in it. Like that's real hard to do. Like everything they did with her this season, I loved. I loved all of it. I don't want to tell you what I didn't love because I don't want to inflict upon you. Nothing was bad,
Yeah.
but there's one character I thought they definitely could have done more with, but they're setting up to do a lot with in season 5.
Gotcha.
So like that gave me hope for like everything we went through with the season with him. Like the idea of the 5th season being like when we get full him, all right, I'm on board. I like a lot of the decisions they made. I did. There's not a lot of cameos left to do. Like the only one that, and I don't mean to spoil this, but I'm going to because it's not really a spoiler. The only cameo we haven't seen yet from the series is the next Karate Kid. God, what's her name? I fucking.
You talking about the one from the fourth one?
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember her name. Next Karate Kid.
Because we know we won't be getting a Jaden cameo, although that would be hilarious.
Hillary Swank. We haven't seen Hillary Swank yet, and I don't know if we're going to, but I really hope we do.
Oh yeah, because that was also Miyagi, huh?
Mm-hmm. And
Gotcha.
that would be fantastic. Even if it's just like a little throwaway, like with what's her face in season 3, like where it was just a little conversation, like that would be dope. I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just fantastic. But yeah, overall this season was great. Oh wait, no, there's actually another name we haven't seen yet. I don't know if we're going to though. The kid who played Mike Barnes. Oh, and there's also Robin Lively. So there's a few cameos we got left.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because I think they've shot season 5 as well.
Did they?
If I'm not mistaken. So I mean that's
Season 5. Let's see. Cobra Kai filming. Season 5. So that filming was. Oh yeah, December 19th. That season 5 was already finished. The show still needs to be edited and reshoots could happen, but with all that factored in, it's like we'll see new episodes in the spring or summer of 2022. I don't know if we're gonna get it that early. Like I wish we got it in the spring. Like that'd be dope.
yeah.
But I don't think we're getting it that early. But yeah, I think you're really going to like how this season goes. I think you're really going to like the evolution of Hawk too. I think he's become
Yeah.
my favorite character.
It's funny because for some reason, like a bunch of clips, either the day before it debuted or the day of, like a bunch of clips just got dropped, and obviously, like he's in the saw where he's in the dojo, and he was asking about Miyagi. He was like, "What the freak did you care? You trashed it, you idiot! Like get out of here, beat it, scram!" And then I saw that clip where Tori confronted old girl's mom at the car place. I'm like, this girl is really easy to dislike.
That actually, again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but that is so much deeper than just Tori being a bitch.
Ah, got you.
It's so good. They introduce a young black kid who's like in middle school. Marcus, I think you're
Yeah.
going to be attached to this kid because his entire arc is just fantastic. I don't like how it's going because of like you'll see how it, you'll be like, oh okay, but
Yeah.
everything about I felt like I was watching a little you, little 12-year-old Marcus, little 13-year-old Marcus.
This is pretty good.
Cause like the kid's like a video game fan. Like he plays like this Minecraft spin-off or whatever, and like he's just like he's cool. He's dancing. I'm like, I love this kid. He's great. I love him. So I think you're really gonna like this season. And as soon as you finish watching it, you need to text me so we can talk about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's it. That's all we got for the rest of the show. Fuck it. RealNerdCorp.com. I'm definitely looking into getting a new URL. I'm gonna keep both sites I think going. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out. The idea is that instead of just having a banner like we have for the website where if you go to like the Wrestling Underground and there's a different banner, is that it's going to be a different URL so that we can link the two sites together through two different Twitter accounts. And that's the idea. Because I do want to get back into talking about more non-wrestling things on podcasts. It's just, I got to find things I care about again. So, there's that.
Yeah, us falling off of comics was a slow trickle effect.
No, not for me. It was a giant kick in the dick. Like, you're no longer welcome. Fuck you, bye. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's cool, you dicks. Like, I still love comics. I'm not buying anything new. That's the issue.
Just me, Chad, and Zach, Officer Chad. Zach literally rode off into the sunset as a married man. Me and Chad like, fuck you, Bendis. We're gonna regroup and when we do.
I need to become a billionaire so I can buy DC and expunge all of Bendis' terrible writing from the history of that fucking company. Oh, there's so many changes I would make. Like, they're bringing back, what is it? Not Wildstorm. They're bringing back, I can't remember the name of it. It's Icon and Static Shock's comic brand, if they haven't already. So, like, that's cool. I like that they're bringing back those characters, the Dakotaverse. Milestone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's cool. I never read Milestone because like it was always so much more edgy. Like it was like because like DC and Marvel in the '90s were like, oh yeah, muscles and big guns, but they weren't graphic or violent. But Milestone had a little bit of violence to it that was like, whew, my little 9-year-old self wasn't allowed to read yet. But I don't think they're going back to that because it was an independent brand at the time. I don't think they're going back to that kind of mentality. But it's still gonna be cool, Icon, Rocket, Static, and fuck, I forget who the other dude is. Who kind of looks like a face maskless version of like a stormtrooper. I can't remember his name, but he's got a dope look. Like that's cool. That may get me back into comics, or at least new comics. But like I don't know. Too many writers are trying to validate their own identities through their work now. It's just like I don't care. Just show me Superman punching a robot, please.
Ironically enough, some of those like incredibly toxic people that's on Twitter are sadly enough the comic writers.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's why so many fans are like, no, thank you. Like when you try to put like an entire diatribe of the Israel-Palestine situation into a Thor comic, I'm kind of like, you're done. I don't want to read anything from you ever again. That's too complicated of a concept to put into a fucking 3-line comic joke. What are you doing? Don't do that. It's a messy situation and it's not easily solved. I hate that people are like that. Like, oh no, this is the issue. You need to solve it this way. That's not as easy as you think it is. So like, I don't know. Comic writers are kind of just the word right now. The fact that Dan Jurgens isn't writing everything is also a giant faux pas. Like, there's Hitler in World War II, any type of Rwandan or Eastern European genocide, and then Dan Jurgens not having a writing spot in DC's core lineup. Like, those are the 3 greatest atrocities of the last 150 years. I'll stand by that. What about people getting sick and dying? Fuck that. Dan Jurgens needs more work. Daryl Banks needs more work. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, people. I don't know why that man isn't writing everything. Or not writing. Daryl Banks is an illustrator. But I don't know why that man isn't drawing everything. Because he should. Because he's fantastic. I don't know. Marcus, I don't know. I don't know if I love Daryl Banks because he wrote or drew Kyle Rayner for the first time or if he's from Columbus. It's one of those two. Anyway, RealNerdCorp.com. That's the website. NERD, nope, REAL, NERD, CORP. There it is. We're on Twitter at NERDCRP. We're on Instagram. Don't even worry about that. We don't use Instagram. Fuck Instagram. You can also find Marcus on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, TruePennyShow. You can find him on his Twitter account, which I completely did out of order and fucked Marcus up because he and I are habitual. Like, his Twitter account is Paradox Kid, PARADOXKID.
That's the kid.
There it is. You can find me on mine at Chad Nerdcorp, CHED, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. I do post some photos on Instagram, but like, I decorated my house with Christmas lights. Go check it out. Like, that's it.
Nice.
Like, that's all you need to do. Like, that's all. I ain't trying to sell you anything. I took a photo. Take a look. It's cool. We'll be back next week. The wrestling awards are gonna be announced tomorrow because I have to calculate the math. Simple addition shouldn't take me more than 4 days. I'll probably have that done tonight. So we'll announce the winners on the website. Talk about it next week. That's what we got coming up. We're working on a brand new podcast idea that we're gonna look into doing probably by the end of the month, I would say. But that's eventuality. But until then, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out, and thanks for giving us a chance. Remember, as always, to watch more wrestling. And Marcus, take us home.
Good night.